Welcome to Lesson 133, Understanding Absolute Values. Today we're going to talk about how to find the absolute value of a number and to understand the difference between absolute value and opposites. The second one is really important because a lot of times students do great with finding the opposite and then really struggle when it comes to absolute value because they tend to think that they're the same thing, but they're very different. So make sure that while we're going over absolute value, you're really paying attention to the definition of the absolute value and the differences between the absolute value and the opposite of a number. All right, so getting started, let's define absolute value. The absolute value of a number is the distance a number is from zero. So for example, if you have the absolute value of -6 would be 6, because on a number line, -6 is 6 places from 0. And then the absolute value of 9 is also 9, because it is 9 places away from 0. So in this case, it does not matter if the number is negative or positive. Your answer is always going to end up having a positive mark. All right, so right here you have the symbol for absolute value. So when you see a number in between these two straight lines, it means that we are looking for the absolute value. Okay, and again, the absolute value is how far a number is away from 0. So in this case, let's try -6. -6 would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. And then if we count how many places away it is from 0, we would count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in this case, the absolute value of -6 would be 6. And then on the same token, if we tried to find the absolute value of +6, we would mark it down on the number line, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then again, we would find that it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places away from 0. So the absolute value of -6 and 6 is 6. Now this is different because in the opposite, if we were looking for the opposite of 6, it would be -6. We're not looking for the opposite here though, we are just looking for how far away the number is from 0. All right, so what I would like you to do is I'd like you to take a moment, pause, and I'd like you to try the absolute values of these 6 numbers. When you come back, we'll go over your answer. All right, so what you should have found is that the absolute value of -9 is 9. The absolute value of -67 is 67. The absolute value of 51 is 51. Absolute value of -100 is 100. The absolute value of 8 is 8. And the absolute value of -51 is 51. So again, even though we started with a positive here and a negative here, and they're the same number, the absolute value is going to be the same because it doesn't matter which way you're going from 0. All that matters is the number of spaces you are from 0. All right, so if we look at the definition for opposites and for absolute value, we see that for opposites, two numbers that are the same distance from 0 on a number line, but in opposite directions. So in this case, what you're looking for is you're looking for the number that goes the opposite direction. So if you're at the negative end, you're looking for the positive opposite. If you're at the positive end, you're looking for the negative opposite. So in this case, you are looking for the opposite number. Here, you're just relating it back to 0. You're looking at the number and saying, well, if I'm a -7, that means I'm 7 places away from 0. Not a -7 places away from 0, just 7 places. That's why it's the absolute value. It just wants to tell us how far it is away from 0, regardless of positive or negative. Right, so when we're looking at the differences, here's a couple of things to keep in mind. A number on the opposite side of 0, the same spaces away from a given number. Okay, so that's the definition. Now, an opposite can be positive or negative. So in this case, we're looking for what's on the opposite side of 0. So if I'm 0 And here I'm positive 3. I want to find something that goes the other way and is the same amount of spaces. So I want to find something that has the same absolute value, but is the opposite of positive, which is negative. So opposites will have the same absolute value, because when we talk about absolute value, we're talking about how far away a number is from 0. Regardless of which direction it is, we're just talking about how far away it is. When it comes to absolute value, your answer is only going to be positive. See? So it doesn't matter which direction it is, it doesn't matter what side of 0 it's on, we just want to know, if you count the number of spaces that it is away from 0, what is that number? All right, so what I would like you to answer on Edmodo, you have 4 questions. Okay, can absolute values be positive, negative, or both? Can opposites be positive, negative, or both? What is the symbol for absolute value? And what is absolute value of -9? As always, if you have any questions, please be sure to post them to Edmodo so we can go over them in class.